Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com.
Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called the Sultan's Library, and it's from Photon Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I would encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. I'm going to have a link at the bottom of your screen now and at the end of the video, and then also down in the description section of the video. That link is going to take you to the official Kickstarter project page. You can find out even more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, what is Sultan's Library? This is a competitive card game where players are trying to get knowledge back to the library of the Sultan, hence the name of the game. You're each taking control of plucky adventurer explorers who are going out trying to find books and bring them back, and be the first person to bring 3 of them back and end the game, although that may not mean necessarily that you're going to win the game. Let's go ahead and take a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game. Nothing here is final quite yet, and then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. So this is the starting setup for a 4-player game of Sultan's Library. Each player is going to take control of a different character, an envoy of the Sultan. Your envoy tokens will start in this main location card, which is the Sultan's Library itself, and then everyone's going to get 2 action cards from the deck as well. Now, the goal of the game is to gather books for the Sultan's Library, and those books are going to be worth knowledge points. At the end of the game, whoever has the most knowledge points from the books that they personally have deposited into the Sultan's Library are going to win the game. Ties are going to be broken by whoever has the most explore points in their hand of action cards. Now, the end game is actually going to be triggered when someone brings back their 3rd book and deposits it. Then the round will finish out. Everyone else is going to get the rest of their turn. But remember that it's whoever has the most knowledge points that will actually win the game. So just to show you a couple of the envoy cards, the character cards that players are going to take control of. Most of the cards, you have the artwork, but you also have a reminder of the different card colors and what they mean and the different actions that you can do on your turn. But every player also has a special action. So the historian here, if you're in the Sultan's Library, you can deposit 2 books as 1 action. Then just the other one I'll show you is the thief. The thief can actually steal a book that a player in your location is holding by paying 2 actions. And the other player character cards have different actions as well. Now, every player is also going to start off with 2 cards from the action deck. And remember, this is a prototype version of the game, so there's no backs on the cards yet, but the other sides do have full artwork. So let me go ahead and show you what you can find in the action deck. You have cards that are going to get you exploration points, like the Bag of Gold, which is going to get you 1 explore point, or the Sultan Seal, which gets you 3, or the Treasure Chest, which gets you 4. And there's other cards like that give you more explore points as well. You have the Courier that lets you deposit a book in the holding, even if you are not in the Sultan's Library. You have cards that hurt the other players, like Book Burning, which is choose a player, and they must discard 1 book of your choice that they have deposited into the Sultan's Library, which sets them back. But cards like Extra Guards can actually cancel those kind of events or action cards. You ignore the card, and if it's an event card, flip the top card of the location deck, and that doesn't count as an action for you. This is one of the cards that does not have final artwork yet, but just to give you an idea of what it does, Motivation lets you discard up to 3 cards to gain that many actions, because you typically only get 2 actions on your turn. Now, let me go through the different actions that you can take on your turn. Every player is going to have 2 actions unless you have a special power that says otherwise, like the one I just read. The first thing you do is explore your area. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're just in the library, but you can actually spend an action to move to a different location. In order to do that, you're going to draw the top card off of the location deck. So here's an example of a location here. I'll actually just show you some more here off to the side. Whenever you want to get to a location, it just spends an action, but to explore it is a whole other story. In that case, you actually have to spend the amount of explore points up in the top corner of the card, and if you're able to do that, you're able to draw another card off the top of the location deck. And if that's a book, then congratulations, you've got a book, and now you're 1 step closer to victory, potentially, if you can get it back to the Sultan's Library. But if not, you're just going to move. If it's another location card, then you're just going to move to that location. So here you have a farmstead, and they all have special abilities. So if you start in this location, you can only draw one card this turn. That's actually the first thing you do on your turn, I forgot to mention, is draw 2 cards. And you'll start off with 2 cards at the start of the game. Then you have the Mountainside Temple. When you travel to the Mountainside Temple, you discard all cards. So it's not always beneficial. The Fishing Village, as an action, you can gain 1 Explorer point. That is beneficial. In the Miraculous Fountain, but it takes you 5 Explorer points to get there. When you travel to or from this location, you draw a card. And let me go ahead and show you some of those books that you may be stumbling across. Now, the number up in the top corner on these cards are actually the knowledge points. So it's not just enough to have a lot of books. You have to have enough points from those books, and all books are worth different amount of knowledge points. So you have the Forbidden Journal, the Cartographer's Notes, the Ancient Tablet. So it's also its flavor, but it's also the fact that these are different amounts of points. Also in the location deck, you may run into events, which could be both harmful and helpful. You have the Wise Old Hermit, who you discard a card and gain an action, reveal the next card of the location deck. You have a Sandstorm, stay in your current location, you're stuck. The Oasis, you draw a card and reveal the top card of the location deck, and I put another Wise Old Hermit in there for some reason. And just to run through the rest of the things you can spend your action points on, picking up one of the books is going, assuming you find one, is going to be an action. Then you're going to travel back to the Sultan's library. Takes both an action and it's going to take Explorer points as well, but then it takes you an action just to deposit the books. That's why it's important to have abilities like the Historians, which lets her deposit 2 books for 1 action. You can also perform your special action using your actions for the round, or just like I said, traveling to a location. And that's the general gist of the game. You're going to use your action points, which also take actions, to try and manipulate your travels and potentially hurt the other players as well, but mainly help yourself and give yourself Explorer points in order to travel to new locations, search for books, and get those books back to the Sultan's library. As soon as someone has collected 3 books, that's going to trigger the end of the game, and whoever has the most knowledge points from the books that they've collected is going to be the winner of the game, with ties going to whoever has the most Explorer points. That is Sultan's Library. Let's get to my final thoughts. Sultan's Library is a game of hand management and action efficiency. You have to use your limited amount of exploration and action points as best you can with the cards that you are limited to in order to as quickly and efficiently explore and grab books and get them back to the library. And because of that, and because the game is simple to get into and fast to play, it's going to be accessible to a wide variety of people. It can easily be used as a gateway game to get new and casual gamers into the hobby and into these types of games. But also there's enough edge there for people who are more gamerly gamers, as I like to call them, to actually enjoy the game and enjoy the strategy that it has to offer. Now, it also, together with that, it has an interesting theme of being in this sort of, I would say like Arabian Nights type world where you're trying to get to the Sultan's library and appease the Sultan, and the artwork on the cards reflects that as well. It would have been very simple for the game just to have some generic book tokens to use for the actual books and victory point conditions that you have to get during the game, but instead they made them all different and unique with their own little blurbs of backstory as well. Same thing with the locations and the action cards. They kind of went that extra mile. So because of the theme, because of the accessibility of the game, and because of the interesting gameplay aspects that are there for everyone to enjoy, I think it's a game that's going to appeal to a wide variety of people, especially casual gamers, but even gamerly gamers, as I call them, as well. So that is Sultan's Library from Photon Games, and if you're interested, if you want to know more, go to the official Kickstarter project page. I'm going to have a link at the bottom of your screen, and then down in the description section of the video, that'll take you to the page. You can find out more and hopefully consider backing the project. My name is Nick, this has been Board Game Brawl, and I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks.